High five! We made it to Instagram Live. Dr. Theresa Larson and my husband,
Per Larson. We're on the gram.
the better half, smarter half. All right, well, we are excited to be doing a live here. We've done a couple in the past, but we're kind of testing different platforms because we're all about educating other coaches, physical therapists, companies,
Absolutely.
military, on how to help themselves. So here we are dancing on Instagram.
That's the path we're on, yes.
Well, so we've been kind of quiet on social media, and there's a reason why. We've had a lot of really, like, April's been a really, really full month. And I think for you, and I'll speak to this, like for physical therapists out there or really educated strength coaches or health professionals, like we've got some pretty exciting stuff our company's involved with that we've been working for a few years developing relationships for. So none of this is like come overnight, but we have been working on an Army contract, which the Army is actually changing their whole fitness requirements, and they're looking for human performance-based physical therapists to help them with education on this new fitness test they have, as well as education of the soldier. So it's really, really interesting being a human performance-based physical therapy, listening to this service like educate and kind of try to be at the forefront of getting ahead of injuries, getting troops ready for battle, getting reservists more in shape and ready for battle, even though they do one weekend a month service. So it's really exciting to see. And I just came back from Fort Eustis. I represented both of us because it was more of a fitness PT-based conference, and found out,
Nobody listens to me when it comes to those things.
We found out like there's going to be coming up a lot of opportunities for PTs who are human performance based. So if any of you PTs out there listening, or strength coaches with CSCS or TSAC or NASM certifications are interested in learning more about what's going on with the Army, email us at getbetter@movement-rx.com. Just talk to you, see where your head's at. But that's something exciting. And then there's...
You're like a DM us, right? This is Instagram.
You can, you can totally
how it
DM
works?
us. You can DM us if you want to. But I don't really
feel
like...
so cool saying that, DM.
I actually have a hard time checking all the messages that come up on social media. There's just so many.
Them.
Yeah, okay, we'll see them. Oh, I just recognized someone outside. Great. Okay, Vail Veterans is coming to visit us today in our office. So if someone's just going to show up here, this is great. She can be part of our video.
All right, let me get the keys.
Yeah. 1 second, everyone. Hold on 1 second. So, yes, Vail Veterans is coming in the house here pretty soon. She doesn't even know she's going to be on camera. And, but we've had some fun things.
Hi, I'm Cheryl.
Cheryl, come on in.
Yeah, nice
Did you know you're going to be on Instagram Live right now with us?
No.
Well, come on. We want to introduce you.
Oh my gosh. Hi.
Hello, everyone. This is Cheryl Jensen
Yes.
with Vail Veterans. I was just telling them you're coming to visit us today.
Well, I'm here. I came a little early, but because I'm
Yes.
so excited to come here.
I'm
Welcome.
so glad you're here.
Yeah,
This
me
is
too,
awesome.
me too.
Well, we were just talking about some of the work we're doing, and if any of you veterans out there are listening to this, please check out Vail Veterans. We'll, in the show notes for this, we'll put the information. But this is the lady that started it all. So
And it's a great honor to be here. But yeah, check us out, vailveteransprogram.org.
it's not a bad place to visit as well.
Yeah.
No.
A little cold right now.
Yes.
So wait until summer.
Awesome. Well, we have a couple more things we have to say, but if you want to
Yeah.
be our audience and
I'll be your
chime in,
audience. I'll
you can be
cheer
the
you-
peanut
I'll cheer
gallery.
you on.
We need
I'll cheer you on.
the applause meter, please.
Perfect.
Please. Okay, so we have a guest in the house, and last thing I want to tell you about is our corporate work. We've been able to work with companies. This last month has been really busy, but launching various projects with a company called Zovio, Great Call, and our team is just stoked about the opportunity. So,
Yeah, I have.
and so is Pear.
I'm very excited.
All right.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. Theresa said it all. This is usually how it works.
I talk a lot.
No.
I'm learning. I'm actually highly introverted. Maybe some of you who really know me know this, but so after this episode, I'm just gonna go take a nap. Okay. Now.
So there is a topic du jour, right? We don't just come on here to
Yes.
to be smiley faces.
Well, yeah.
I mean that helps, but
Especially his smile is the best. Okay, so what we're going to talk about...
the power of assessments, right?
Yes.
So
The power of human assessment, which I think all of you strength coaches out there, physical therapists, anybody working with those with permanent injuries to more common musculoskeletal, assessment is huge. You can't just throw someone into a program and not know where they are. So...
Yeah, so there's a bigger picture here too. So when we talk about assessments, there's a ton of rationale for it. So you're probably going to come at it. We always do our top 5 each, right? But we don't talk to each other ahead of time, which is, we're married. We don't talk to each other. You're going to do it on performance and kind of clinical reasoning.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about the business premise behind doing these assessments, both from if you're a chiro or a strength coach, or if you are an HR director at a company.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about. I'll come at it from that angle.
Yes.
So there's a lot of application here.
These usually run about 15-20 minutes total. We have an audience today. We have an audience online, but I like the physical audience much better. Not that I don't like you guys, it's just connection, human connection. Okay, more about assessment.
Let's talk about assessment.
Okay.
So
Top 5?
we can jump into it, but just overall perspective. And when you talk about assessments, how do you approach it? Why do you think they're cool?
Well, they're not only cool, they're important because in human performance, it's very important to find a baseline of where that human is who's in front of you that you're evaluating. So I'm a physical therapist by trade, but I want to know, an assessment helps me understand where that person is to help me better identify where they need to go. Because an assessment shows me, are they optimal or not? Yes or no? And if they're not, then what are the methods that I need to do to help them get there? And an assessment also helps the person understand where they are. Because a lot of times they come to us when they don't know their diagnosis, they don't understand it, they don't understand the cause still, and the assessment really helps identify the cause of what they're struggling with.
Yeah. So from a clinical standpoint, we're making a distinction between an evaluation and an assessment.
Yes.
Which I don't know how many we've done. Thousands and thousands.
We do a lot. We do it in a group setting and we do it on an individual level. And we always, a lot of you know that I work with adaptive athletes. We also do it for them. And they're with different impairments. It still is very effective because it shows them what their capacity can be, which a lot of times even those that aren't adaptive don't know what their capacity is. So it gives us all an idea of like, oh wow, I can shoot for that.
But let's talk a little bit before we do our top 5. So you've created a set of assessments based on just what we need. So we've done these things for a long time. We used to use the FMS, which is widely understood in research, but very binary.
Yes.
Didn't really give us a good enough insight into the predictive, or didn't allow us to predict well enough what would happen with somebody based on scoring. So we created, well, I don't want to say we, I didn't have anything to do with it. You created a set of things both for general musculoskeletal issues as well as for adaptive athletes.
Yes, so
Or am I getting into your list?
we can get into the list, I think.
Okay.
Or you wanted to ask?
I'm trying to. We have.
Trying to butter me up here.
We've done a lot. We've created a bunch of things that we use internally.
Well, yeah. So the FMS is something that's a common assessment out there, and we created one that was a little bit different based on what our population people needed. So more of an idea of in the functional fitness realm, what could help them be successful there, whether you're an adaptive athlete or not. That's why, because the assessment that is currently out there that's very common in the performance realm is just not, it doesn't really work for the population we work with. And this is what we found out this last week with the Army. They don't use it because it just doesn't help them identify the needs of their soldiers.
Speaking of FMS specifically.
Yes. And I very much respect the person, Gray Cook, that created the FMS. Just, we know with the populations we worked with, the vast differences and capabilities, that we needed to create something a little more specific to that population. And the assessment I do for the adaptive athlete is a little bit different than the one I do with someone with low back pain. So there's one specifically for different kind of categories of injuries.
Okay. So since this is going so smoothly, we're gonna jump into our top 5.
This is what Instagram Lives are about.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So would you like to start with your number 5?
Sure. I'm actually really interested in what you have to say too, from a business perspective.
Okay.
So my number 5 is, one, it helps you ask, so when you're assessing an athlete, and PTs out there who are creative strength coaches, I challenge you to create your own based on what you feel people need. But it challenges you to ask questions to the patient. So as you're uncovering different things about the patient with movement, you can ask them more questions, because typically someone that, when you ask them what's going on, they'll give you a 1-sentence answer, and it's not the whole story until you start seeing them move and you see the actions and the faults and the successes, that you can start really kind of weaving in questions to ask them more about their history. So I think it gives you a platform for that.
Very cool. My number 5 is, so I'm looking at this from a standpoint of business. So the reason it's such a good tool is it's numerical, right? It gives people a number, gives them an index to say, I feel like I understand where I'm at. Now they may not, but it's a number. And so if we all, it's something that's concrete, something that we can do something with. Help us recognize where we stand. So because the magic of numbers to our psychology, it gives us kind of I think for most folks, once you get that number, there's a boost of motivation to do something, right? So we think sales, great. We think just wellness at your company, great. So my number 5 is, in terms of the power assessments, is that they have a number, and we like numbers.
Well, people like numbers and they're motivated by numbers. So you have to give people what they want to, and then you give them what they need with it. So, because we don't run a traditional PT practice, and we need to help people find their new normal, help people find success. So if that's giving them the physical number of like, okay, this is what you're shooting for, then that's good. But it also needs to come with the methods of how to fix their actual issues. So my number 4 is that it helps you find the cause of what's going on with the person, which is really important. Instead of just treating symptoms, there's a lot of more passive therapies out there. There's a lot of good therapies out there. There's a lot of not so great therapies, and it usually revolves around the person giving it. But the key is that they're finding the cause. If you're having pain somewhere, usually the pain is not the problem. It's somewhere else, upstream, downstream. And so whoever is treating you needs to be looking at the cause. So with an assessment, a very thorough one, instead of going to the doctor and then touching one area, you look at all the components of movement that might affect that area. So it gets down to the root cause, which typically isn't the area the pain is.
Nice. I can't really comment on the clinical stuff, so I'll just shut my mouth.
Comments from the peanut gallery.
No, you guys are doing a great job. For someone who lives in PT, I'm living by your word. I live by your word, I should say.
So my number 4 is, from a business standpoint, it provides some transparency, right? So if you're assessing someone over the course of time, a start of treatment, start of their experience with you, middle, end, it provides some transparency into the impact of the services that you're providing. So both for the customer as well as you as the business. There's no way to hide if your numbers aren't improving or people aren't improving on the assessments under your care, under your watch. That tells something. And so I find that for us, having folks do these assessments gives us a good indication and is transparent to the customer, which is important, of how impactful our services actually are.
Yes, I like it. It's a good one, Pear.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. So my
Applause meter just went up.
number 3, this one actually is really important. It tells me if this patient isn't a good fit for me, or we're not a good fit for each other. So if someone comes in and I want to help everyone, but it's not within my scope of practice to help everyone. And I've had people come in who are suicidal, and that's not my area. Like I can help them with the physical coping, but I always will make sure I refer them to someone that can help them with those thoughts. That's an extreme example. Or less extreme example would be someone who is just having pain with every single movement. Well, if they're having pain with every single movement, and nothing is helping fix that pain, then we need to look at more systemic approach. And the systemic approach needs to involve blood work and other things that I am not capable of doing. So it's really important. The assessment is also a way for me to rule out, is this person within my scope or not?
Sweet. My number 3, it's a great sales tool. I referred to that earlier, but assessments are a fantastic sales tool for your other services. But the idea is not to be opportunistic about it, not to be pushy. It's to get people to take action in a way. And this is all about health, but it's a way to get people to take that next step in improving their health. So if we think about this from the standpoint of a customer journey, offering assessments allows people to say, here's a micro commitment, something super easy, super quick. Maybe it's free, maybe it's low cost, but it gives people a chance to take a little step towards health. Once they're there, the score and the conversation around the score create another scenario for whatever that next step is going to be. So again, great for sales from the standpoint of helping people take steps that they may not otherwise take on their own that they might need to. So
Yes.
That's my number 3.
And that's a powerful one, behavior change. People oftentimes wait till things are really bad to do something. So if an assessment can give them an idea of, oh wow, I need to work on that. Like my single leg balance, eyes closed, my vestibular system isn't optimal, right? That's going to affect my longevity. So why not do something about it now? That's behavior change. Humans need a little kick in the booty for that. My number 2 is building relationships. So it kind of goes off of what Para just said. It's a great way to build a relationship with the patient and them trust you, you trust them. And it gives them a kind of a template. It gives them an idea too, an understanding of what's going on in their body, especially if you're educating them along the way. So I think that's a really good way to build a rapport, help them build trust in you, which is really important. And therefore, you build trust in you, then they're going to help other people in their circle with the things that you've given them. That's what I've found, is that usually people that are getting better and love the fact that you're telling them exactly what they need to do and showing them why it's happening, spread the love to other people, which is what this is about.
My number 2 is on the same thread, behavior change.
Nice.
But it's about education. So assessments are provide a wonderful opportunity to educate, as I think most folks who have done this have found out. But in order to resonate, I think it's super important. So versus getting blood work and you wait a week or 2 weeks to get results, like the action and the results are pretty far spread out. So ideally, whatever assessment you do, you can provide immediate feedback and scoring, because it creates the opportunity to talk about that person's status and to educate clearly. The idea is to, from my standpoint, is you have the opportunity to influence behavior in that education setting. It shouldn't just be a Wikipedia dump. Hey, this is what happens. A, B, C. No, I think the whole idea behind these assessments is you create an opportunity to engage with somebody and influence their behavior in a positive manner.
Yes.
That's where the education comes in my mind.
And it creates the human connection.
Yes.
The excessive.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
Cheryl. And number 1. So I probably already said this. It's in the beginning when we gave the overview, but I'll repeat it again because people need to hear things 7 to 13 times to really get it in there. So it gives you.
For me, it's 13.
Yes, probably me too. The baseline of, it gives us a baseline, which is really important. Like I was just at this Army conference, and while they could talk about the baseline and human performance for these soldiers, they could not talk about a baseline for injury prevention yet. There's no baseline. Like there's no testing they do for it. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we're going to create. And that's really important. People need to know what they're shooting for. What does optimal look like? And what's on the other spectrum of optimal, and where do they stand? And then, so they know what to shoot for. They know why they're using a foam roller. They know why they need to do some low back work. They know why they need to do thoracic rotation. They know why they need to start squatting or dipping, or if they're in a wheelchair, or need to be using their side with a prosthetic, or doing more toe touches in the morning. Like there's got to be people need to know a reason. And maybe I'm coming at it from a science perspective, but also a behavior perspective with humans. Not everyone cares about necessarily diagnosis. It's just, what do I need to do to get better? And so that's what this offers.
Sweet. My number 1. So the thing that it's about what to do, what's the next step after the assessment. And so in our experience, we found that you can provide one option, you can provide a bunch of options. What we found works best is you provide two, right? Your desired course and then something that requires a little bit less commitment. So again, back to that customer journey. People at this stage are usually at different points. Providing them options allows them to kind of fit into whatever level of commitment they have along their journey to health. And as we know, some folks are very committed to it, others may never change, and most of us are somewhere in the middle. So giving people an option in terms of next steps. You've just built a bunch of credibility through the course of the assessment and the education process. Your word carries a ton of weight, but you still want to give them a choice. It's kind of like our 2-year-old. It's A or B. There's no C, just A or B.
You have two choices for dinner. Take it or leave it. Well, no leaving it. You're going to eat it. You have one choice, really. Eat it or go to your room.
Anyway, that's each of our top 5 combined, top 10
yes.
Insights into the power of assessments from a clinical standpoint, from a business standpoint as well.
Yeah, I think yours are really good from the business side.
Well, I love yours too.
Thank you. Well, we enjoy educating, and we'll see you all. We do this almost every week, depends on what's going on. We've been pretty busy this last month. If there are any topics, physical therapists out there, no matter what area you work in, strength coaches, if you have any questions or topics that you want to see covered, or you're interested in more corporate wellness topics, adaptive athlete topics, working with the military, again, DM us and let us know, because we'd be happy to discuss it. If we don't have the answer, we're going to find other experts that do. So.
All right.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Applause, leaders.
All right, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye all.